My name is Naomi. I'm 29 years old. And 3 months ago, my mother called me a liar in front of every single person in our family. She typed it out in the family WhatsApp group, capital letters, exclamation point, the whole performance. She's lying. 43 family members saw it. Aunts, uncles, cousins, my grandmother in Kingston who still uses voice notes for everything. My mother told all of them that I was making up stories to destroy her reputation. What she didn't know was that I'd already been to the police station that morning, and I had the report saved as a PDF on my phone. So when she finished her little speech, I uploaded it. Every single page. But I need to go back to the beginning so you understand how I got there. My father died when I was 11, brain aneurysm. He was at work, collapsed in the break room, and never came home. My brother Derek was 15. My mother was 38. And just like that, we became a different family. My dad had a modest life insurance policy, about $90,000, and a small pension that paid out a lump sum. My mother used some of it to pay off the house and put the rest into savings. At least that's what she told us. Growing up after that, money was always tight. My mother worked as an administrative assistant at a medical clinic, and she made it very clear that every sacrifice she made was for us. Every meal she cooked, every school fee she covered, every pair of shoes she bought, she kept a running tally. Not on paper, in her head. And she'd recite it whenever she felt we weren't grateful enough. Derek was the one who could do no wrong. He dropped out of college after one semester, moved back home, and spent 3 years working part-time at a sneaker store while my mother paid for his car, his phone, his insurance. When I asked why he didn't have to contribute to the household, she told me, he's finding himself. Not everyone moves at your speed, Naomi. When I graduated with a degree in accounting, summa cum laude. Student loans paid off by 26 through sheer discipline. She didn't come to the ceremony. Said she had a migraine. Derek posted pictures of himself at a pool party that same afternoon. I tell you this not to paint myself as some kind of martyr, but so you understand the dynamic. I was the responsible one, the one who answered the phone at midnight when her car broke down. The one who co-signed her apartment lease in 2019 when she decided to rent out the house and move closer to her job. The one who added her as an authorized user on one of my credit cards back in 2020 so she could build her credit back up. She told me her score had dropped because of some medical bills. I didn't question it. She was my mother, and she had access to everything. My social security number, she'd had it memorized since I was born. My date of birth, obviously, my previous addresses. She even had an old email of mine that I'd set up when I was 16, one she helped me create. I never thought to change the password. I never thought I'd need to. I want to be honest about something. There were signs. Small ones that I explained away the way you do when the person involved is someone you love. In early 2022, I got a call from a bank I didn't have an account with. They were asking about a late payment on a credit card. I told them they had the wrong person and hung up. 2 months later, I got a piece of mail forwarded from my mother's old address, the house, addressed to me. It was a statement for a Visa card I never opened, with a balance of $6,200. I called the bank, disputed it, and assumed it was identity theft from some data breach. They closed the account. I froze my credit with one bureau and forgot to do the other two. Life was busy. I was working 60-hour weeks during tax season, and I let it slide. That was my mistake. But it wasn't my fault. In January 2024, I decided to buy my first home. I'd saved $42,000 for a down payment. I had stable income, good employment history, and what I believed was excellent credit. My score had been around 780 the last time I checked, almost 2 years earlier. I sat down with a mortgage broker named Denise on January 15th, filled out the pre-approval application, and waited. Denise called me 3 days later. Her voice was careful, the way people sound when they're about to deliver news they know will hurt. Naomi, I ran your credit, and there are some things we need to talk about. My score was 588. I actually laughed. I thought it was a glitch. She said, "I'm seeing 4 credit accounts I want to ask you about." 4. One was the visa I'd already disputed and thought was resolved. The other 3 were new to me. A MasterCard with a $14,000 balance, opened in March 2022. A store credit card from Nordstrom with a $3,800 balance, opened in June 2022. And a personal loan, $12,000, taken out in August 2023 through an online lender I'd never heard of. Total debt I didn't know about, $47,400. Almost exactly what I'd saved for my house. I sat in Denise's office and couldn't speak for a full minute. She pushed a box of tissues across the desk. I didn't cry. I just stared at the printout, scanning the addresses, the account numbers, the payment histories. Most of the payments had been made for the first few months, then stopped. The mailing address on 3 of the 4 accounts was my mother's old house, the one she rented out in 2019. The one where mail still occasionally got forwarded to her apartment. I drove to my apartment and pulled up the accounts online. The email address associated with 2 of them was the old one, the one my mother helped me set up when I was 16. The one I never changed the password on. I called my best friend, Tasha. She picked up on the second ring. I told her everything, reading the numbers off the screen like I was reciting someone else's nightmare. She was quiet for a long time, and then she said, "Naomi, you already know who did this." I did. I just couldn't say it yet. The next morning, I called my mother. I kept my voice neutral. I told her I was applying for a mortgage and that some unfamiliar accounts had shown up on my credit report. I asked if she knew anything about it. There was a pause, maybe 4 seconds, but I counted, and then she said, "Why would I know anything about your credit?" I described the accounts. She said, "That sounds like fraud. You should call the police." I said, "The mailing address is your old house." Another pause. "Well, anyone could have used that address, Naomi." "You know how mail is?" I asked her directly. "Mom, did you open any accounts in my name?" And she said, and I will never forget her tone, this practiced, wounded softness, "I can't believe you would ask me that. After everything I've done for you." I let it go, not because I believed her, but because I needed time to think. Over the next 2 weeks, I did what I do best. I gathered information. I'm an accountant. Numbers are what I understand. Patterns are what I see. I pulled my full credit reports from all 3 bureaus. I requested account opening documents from each of the 4 creditors by filing disputes and requesting verification under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. I printed everything. I made a binder, tabs and all. The MasterCard application had been submitted online using my social security number, my date of birth, and the old email address. The IP address on the application, which the bank provided after I submitted a fraud affidavit, traced to a location in the same zip code as my mother's apartment. The personal loan had been deposited into a bank account at a regional bank. I didn't have an account there. I submitted a records request and eventually confirmed, through the fraud investigation team, that the receiving account was opened in my name, with my mother listed as a joint account holder. That was the moment I stopped hoping I was wrong. I consulted a lawyer. Her name was Patricia Owens, and she specialized in financial fraud and identity theft. She reviewed my binder, looked up from the documents, and said, "You have a strong case. But I want you to understand something. If you file a police report, this becomes a criminal matter." "They may charge her." I said, "I know." She said, "She's your mother." I said, "I know that too." I didn't sleep well for about a week. I kept replaying every conversation, every moment she'd told me she was struggling, every time I'd sent her $300 here, $500 there, helped her with rent, covered her car repair. I added it up once. Between 2018 and 2023, I'd given my mother somewhere around $22,000 in direct support, and she'd still stolen from me. Patricia advised me to file the police report before contacting creditors for formal fraud resolution, because creditors take reports more seriously when there's an official case number. On February 12, 2024, I went to the precinct and filed a report. Identity theft, fraud, unauthorized use of personal information. I named my mother. The officer taking the report paused when I said her name. "This is a family member," he asked. I nodded. He didn't say anything else. He just typed. I got the case number. I got a copy of the report. And I saved it as a PDF. I hadn't told anyone in my family yet. Not my brother, not my aunts, not my grandmother. I was still processing. But my mother apparently felt something shifting, because on February 18th, she called Derek. I know this because Derek called me 20 minutes later, heated, talking fast. "Mom says you're accusing her of stealing from you. She's really upset, Naomi. She's crying. What's going on?" I tried to explain. I told him about the accounts, the addresses, the IP trace, the joint bank account. He cut me off. "Mom would never do that. You're reaching. Maybe someone hacked you and it's a coincidence." I asked him how a hacker would know to list Mom as a joint account holder. He didn't answer. He just said, "You need to fix this. You're tearing the family apart." I called my Aunt Diane next. She was my father's sister, the one person I thought might listen. I told her a condensed version of what happened. She was quiet, then said, "That's a serious accusation, Naomi. Are you sure?" I told her I had documentation. She said, "Let me talk to your mother first." 2 days later, February 20th, it happened. I opened WhatsApp and saw 47 unread messages in the family group, the one titled Bennett Family. My mother had posted a long message. I scrolled to the top and read it. She wrote that she was heartbroken and devastated, that her own daughter was spreading lies and slander about her. She said I had always been difficult and jealous of the bond she had with Derek. She said she had given her life to raising us as a single mother, and this was how I repaid her. And at the very end, in all caps, "SHE's lying." The responses were already flooding in. My cousin Marcus, "That's messed up, Naomi." My Aunt Grace, "Your mother doesn't deserve this." My uncle, "Family business should stay in the family." My grandmother sent a voice note that I couldn't bring myself to play for 3 days. Derek sent a thumbs-up emoji to my mother's message. I sat on my bed with my phone in my hands and felt something click into place inside my chest. Not rage, not sadness, clarity. Absolute, bone-deep clarity. I opened the binder. I photographed the credit report showing all 4 fraudulent accounts. I photographed the account opening document showing the old email address. I photographed the bank record showing the joint account with my mother's name on it. I photographed the IP trace summary. And then I opened the PDF of the police report, case number and all. I went back to the WhatsApp group. I didn't write a long message. I didn't defend myself. I didn't plead. I typed 5 words. "Here is the police report." And I uploaded every document. One after another, 7 images and 1 PDF. I watched the blue check marks appear as people opened them. The group went silent, completely silent. For 11 minutes, not a single message. Then my Aunt Diane sent a private message. "Oh my God, Naomi, I'm so sorry." My cousin Marcus deleted his earlier comment. My Aunt Grace didn't say anything for 2 days, and when she finally did, she sent me a private message that said, "I didn't know, I should have asked." My mother left the group. Derek called me that night. He didn't apologize. He said, "You didn't have to embarrass her like that." I said, "She called me a liar in front of the entire family, Derek." "What would you have done?" He hung up. Over the following weeks, the fraud investigations moved forward. 3 of the 4 creditors ruled in my favor and removed the accounts from my credit report. The 4th, the personal loan, took longer because of the joint account structure, but Patricia got it resolved by mid-April. My credit score climbed back to 712 by May. It's still recovering. My mother was contacted by police in March. I don't know the full details of what happened in that interview, but I know she admitted to opening 1 or 2 of the accounts. She told the detective she did it because she was desperate and planned to pay it all back. There was no evidence she ever made a single payment on the personal loan. The district attorney's office reviewed the case and offered her a pretrial diversion program, restitution, and financial counseling in exchange for avoiding a felony conviction. She accepted. She has to pay back the full amount over 4 years. I haven't spoken to her since February 20th. Derek and I have exchanged exactly 3 text messages, all logistical, about our grandmother's birthday in April. I sent a card and a gift. I didn't go to the party. I wasn't ready to be in that room. My grandmother eventually played me a voice note, not the one from the group chat, a new one just for me. She said, "Naomi, me no understand everything, but me know ya wouldn't lie. Come see me when ya ready." I cried for the first time when I heard that. I bought my house in June. A 2-bedroom with a small backyard and a kitchen with big windows that let in morning light. I signed the papers with Tasha sitting next to me, and she squeezed my hand when I wrote my name on the last page. Denise, my mortgage broker, sent me flowers. The card said, "You earned this." I still think about my mother. Not with hatred, I don't have the energy for that, but with a sadness that sits low in my stomach and doesn't fully go away. She was my mother. She taught me to braid my hair. She sat with me through thunderstorms when I was small. And she stole $47,000 from me and called me a liar when I told the truth. Both things are real. I hold them both. There are 3 things I learned from this that I want to share. First, protect your identity, even from family. Freeze your credit with all 3 bureaus, change your passwords, and never assume someone won't hurt you just because they love you. Love and harm are not mutually exclusive. Second, document everything. If I hadn't pulled those records, requested those documents, and filed that report before she went public, I would have been the villain of that story. The truth only protects you when you can prove it. Third, standing up for yourself will cost you something. It cost me my mother, my brother, and a version of my family I'll never get back. But staying silent would have cost me more. It would have cost me myself. If you're watching this and you've been called a liar for telling the truth, if someone in your family has taken from you and made you feel crazy for noticing, I see you. You're not crazy. You're not ungrateful. And you're not alone. Trust what you know. Gather your proof. And when the time comes, don't let anyone rewrite your story. If this resonated with you, leave a comment. I read every single one. Hit that like button if you've ever had to stand up against someone who is supposed to protect you. And subscribe if you want to hear more stories like this, because there are so many of us, and we deserve to be heard.